Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar today, which is going to take you through the new features in Microsoft Business Central SaaS. My name is Ailish Laidlaw, and I'm an account manager here at Kik, and I'm joined by my colleague Lee, who is also an account manager, and he is going to take us through a demonstration of some of the features today. Throughout the demo and the presentation, feel free to ask any questions in the chat box, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So, as most of you will know, Business Central SaaS is automatically updated by Microsoft, which is one of the best features of the product because you're always up to date. Microsoft release some minor updates each month, which are normally bug fixes and hot fixes and things like that. But the two major releases come each year in spring and autumn, which gives us new features and new security, compliance and technology updates. So today we're going to take you through some of the new features that have been released over the last few major releases, and Lee will talk you through them later on. When we are notified by Microsoft that there is a major release coming, so it tends to be April and October time, but the dates vary year to year. Kik are notified, as are you as a customer. So whoever's registered as the administrator of your Business Central environment will receive an email from Microsoft that the updates are coming. And in conjunction with Kik, we'll work with you to review the update to make sure that it's not conflicting with any of your existing customizations or add-ons, and we will update that if it is. So Microsoft tend to notify us if there is any conflicts. We will update it to your sandbox environment as soon as possible to allow you to test that and to report to us any issues with the new version. And we'll resolve those ahead of actually deploying the update. So we'll then schedule the update in conjunction with yourselves to a suitable time, and this will have to be within the kind of five-ish weeks that Microsoft give us to postpone the update by. If you don't do it within that time frame, then it will just be applied automatically to make sure that you are up to date and on the latest version. But we work with customers to make sure that they get the testing and the updates scheduled within that time frame to make sure that everything is working as expected. So that's how we manage the updates. As I say, the monthly ones just happen overnight and they don't affect any of the background processing, but the two major ones we work together to make sure that they work seamlessly and update seamlessly each April and October. So I'll pass over to Lee now. He's going to show you some of the new features, and I'm just putting myself on mute just now, so you can't hear me. Thanks, everyone.
Great, thanks, Ailish. Hi, everyone. Okay, so we're going to be looking at just some of the bits and pieces which has changed over since April and October. So what we'll do is we'll go through a few slides, and I've actually got quite a few links in the slides. I've picked out some of the sort of easier ones to show you, and I'll discuss some of the content which is in here as we go through. Before we actually get into the wave releases, just in case customers don't know, Microsoft Learn. Well, what is Microsoft Learn? Now, there's a Microsoft Learn site, which is basically a library of technical documentation for users, developers, and any professional who works with Microsoft products. Now, there's some links on screen, and I'll keep the links on at the end of the webinar. But this is really useful, and some of this takes us actually into the wave releases. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click on the first one, for instance, training. Now, hopefully that just changes my screen and you can see that. But basically, when you come into this site, this is a full training site of pretty much every Microsoft product. Now, obviously, you don't want to, we're concentrating Business Central just now. So what you can do is you can just browse the learning paths, and this then tells you all the different things you could, educate yourself on, you could learn. At the moment, we're just looking for Dynamics 365, so I'll just open up that one, and I'm looking at Business Central. So in here, you'll find all sorts of great educational pieces about from beginners, intermediate to advanced on, writing, creating chart of accounts, creating new companies, setting up users. There's something like 300 odds modules in here. And I actually use this as well when I need to do a refresh of some of my learning. So it's a nice site. I'll give you the links at the end, but definitely it's something to look at. What I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to go to the second link, which is basically the same site, but it takes me to technical documentation. Now, the reason why I'm going through this is you can come in here and again, click on Business Central, and there's different information in here in terms of things that you could learn about, but we're looking at the wave release. So when the wave releases come out, it's new. So if I just click on Watch New, this is where you can find the latest. Now you can Google, Dynamics 365 Business Central Wave Release 2021, 2022, 2023, so you can look at past wave releases. But if you just want to see, well, what is the new stuff coming out, you can get it this way. Obviously, we will email you information as it comes out, but you can come in here and have a look. So I'm looking at for this webinar, this year's wave releases. Release Wave 1, which is April, and Release Wave 2, which has just been released in October. Now, I'm going to click on Release Wave 1. Now, if you've ever been in here before, once obviously you've had our notifications and you've had a list of, and you've come into the links, I'm just going to quickly scroll down. You'll see there's quite a bit of information in here, and this can be quite daunting. Even I look at this sometimes, I think, okay, how do I find what makes sense? What I'm going to try and do here, just go over things, and I'll pick out, as I said, things which I think are useful. So I've got a different slide which has the links, but just for now, each section has a heading. So adapt faster with Microsoft Power Platform. Now, when you look at this, and when I sort of investigated this, unless I'm a Power Platform, developer or someone who writes the workflows, what this is basically telling me, there's more things for triggers. There's more Power Automate things that can be achieved. There's new workflow experiences. Do I need any of that? Depending on what your role is, probably a lot of people won't. However, not to say you don't want to go in and just have a quick look, but this is all about the Power Platform, Dataverse, and triggers. So just now, I'm not going to get into any of that. What is really useful is the application side. So on the application side, this is where you're going to get the crux of changes. There's some quick wins. So there's some things where they're quick and easy to learn, and they're just there. There's other things where, for instance, this one, bin codes and zone codes, and changing how some of the processes work. Some of this are areas where you don't want to just be changing. If there's things in here where you go through and you have a read and you think, oh, okay, that looks like a good benefit is, when it's changing process, you need to speak to your account manager to review that and see obviously what those changes and what will impact you. But there's lots of features in the application. As I said, I'm going to come back to this in a second. As I said, I've picked out some things. Copilot and AI innovation. This is a hot topic just now. It's really good. There's so much coming out in the AI world. Within the AI in Business Central, it's called Copilot, and I'm going to be discussing a bit of that. Country and regional. So where customers have more than one environment in different areas. So obviously, most customers here will have a GB, a UK environment. A lot of this is talking about regional changes within different regions where that environment exists. So if you have a different environment in Armenia or or one of these, then great, go in, have a look. If not, then it's probably not applicable to you. So I'm just going to, there's nothing in the new key here just now, so I'm just going to, I'm not going to go touch on this just now. Development, again, unless you are a developer and unless you come down here and you see things which, oh, that would really be useful in terms of the development side, you're probably not going to come in and look at AI packages and that type of thing. So again, I'm just going to skip that over just now. But for those out there who are developers that are in that technical field, then definitely can have a look. I've got a heading here for governance and administration. Again, some of this stuff is good, and I'm going to touch on this a bit of this as we go through the links I've chosen. Legislation, really important. If there's anything in here, there's only a couple of things in here which regards deductible VAT expands functionality. So for definite, come into here. If I just click on this and just have a read of what it's saying here. So this is about the VAT posting setup and partial deducted pro rata VAT. If that's applicable to you, then you can make changes for that setup. Again, I'll speak to a consultant if you're not sure before you go changing anything, and you can test it in your sandbox. Right, let me just go back to that page. Onboarding, that's more for partners. So again, I'm just going to ignore that. Productivity within Microsoft 365 may be applicable. This is talking about enhancement, adaptive cards and teams, team cards, etc. Again, for now, it's not. I'm not going to touch any of this. Reporting data analysis, really important. This is a nice feature I'm going to run through. And then we go into service and platforms. Again, we're talking more OData.NET. Again, it's very much technical, high level, detailed technical stuff, which I'm going to leave. User experiences, this is important. There's new functionality and about how you navigate and find things in Business Central. Again, I've picked out a couple of things which you might find useful, but again, you can come in here and have a look in your own accord. So this is the makeup of what you're looking at when you come into these pages. It's these headings you're trying to just look at and then decide within each one, is that important to me as a user, and have a read. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my slides. And what I've did here is I've picked out from the April 2023 release, and again you'll see my headings there, some of the things which I think are just easy enough for us just to run through just now. So I'll go through April and a few things in the October release. Now, it's important to note that, excuse me, although Microsoft say they're releasing it in April, it doesn't mean it's going to be automatically there. There can be delays. Sometimes Microsoft will say they're going to release certain functions and then they notify partners that there's been delays in those releases. Depending on your requirements, when Microsoft release, you have an option to delay the releases so that you can, I think it's up to 50 or 60 days before you must then do the updates. On my system's not fully updated with all the release information. So the stuff I can talk about, there is definitely things I can show you as well. So the first one we're going to look at is add columns for better insights. Now this is a nice, quick, easy one. Into here. So what is this saying? Well, basically this was from April, so this should be available. When you go through personalization, you can pull through more fields. So on this example, what it's saying is we now have availability to pull through general product, general business, and VAT posting groups on some of the screens and some of the cards. So if you're not sure how to do that, what it's saying is basically, if I just minimize, I'll just go to my Business Central. What it's basically saying is when you come into one of the screens and you go to personalize, in fact, what we'll do is let me go into a list of customers just now. So when you're in, depending on the screen you're in, when you go into the cog here and you click on personalize, and you go to this option to add fields, you're going to have more. The more fields available where you can take these, and you might want to put it into your screen views or your lines, so you can see that information. So that first one is a relatively straightforward, nice, easy one. I'm going to do a bit of clicking back and forward, just the way this is working. The next one is an interesting one. I'm not sure everyone might have seen it on your screen. It's been, I think it was released last year. There has been updates in April this year and the recent release in October. This is Shopify, and it's now bringing through more price synchronization. If you haven't come across what this is, I've got a quick demonstration for you. So first thing is, what is Shopify? Well, Shopify is an e-commerce platform. Shopify, you can basically create a website and you can obviously sell your own products, e-commerce through that website. You pay Shopify a set amount per month and you maintain your own web shop. What's happened with Business Central a couple of versions ago, they brought out a connector to Shopify. So what I've did is I've connected my Business Central to Shopify. So what I've got here, this is a demonstration account, and what I basically did is I've told Business Central to bring through all my products, all my customers into Shopify. What I've did using Shopify is I created an online store. I'm just going to view it. And it brings through all my items which I have in Business Central. So what I could do is I could say, well, I want to order this hard drive. So this, you imagine someone's on your site, they come into here and say, yeah, that's great, I'll have that 10 GB hard drive, I'll buy it now. What happens using the Shopify is if I just put in my email address, they obviously order, and I'm just going to put in some fictitious addresses here that I was using earlier. So they order, they say, yeah, I want to buy that, and I'm going to pay it obviously by credit card. Let's say 24. They put this code in and they click on pay now. So they then also paying you via Shopify. That order goes to them, shows the shipping address, and that customer will get an email. What's happening in Business Central is that I've already created a Shopify shop, which is linking to that site. And what effectively you can do in this shop is you can synchronize different items. So I can synchronize orders, shipments, images, inventory, customers, that type of thing. So end result is that if I go to my Shopify menu up here and go to my orders, if I, hopefully, this is a live demo, it might take a wee minute to run. If I sync my orders from Shopify, now normally what you would have is you would have a job which just does this in the background. But effectively that job is now running, and it'll probably take a wee minute. But effectively what's going to happen is that order that customer's done on the website is actually going to hit Business Central, and it's going to have all the details of the order. As I said, it'll take a wee second. And then from there, what you can do is you can obviously progress and deal with that order as you need to. And there's different things in Shopify which will come through from different risks in terms of the customer it knows about, etc., etc. So let me just refresh. It does work. So typically it might take a wee bit longer. Yeah, there it is there. So that's actually just been brought in. Got my Shopify order number. If I click on it now, I can now deal with this. There's a 10 GB hard drive, and I can progress this to an order within Business Central. It's a Shopify order. It becomes a Business Central order when I progress it. The system can create the customers automatically for you. So if this has never been used, you can set options to say create this as a new customer, or if it finds a customer, it just automatically creates the order to that account. So that's a really nice piece of integration. And what you'll see, the reason why I was going to do that is you'll see a lot of quite a bit of changes in Shopify through different versions. When it's talking about all the price synchronization and all the nice bits, this is what it's referring to. If you think Shopify is useful to you, speak to your account manager and we can set up a review to see how you want to use it. Okay, so start with Shopify. Preview item journals and 20-hour journal document for posting. So again, if I just click on this one, I'm not going to go through this, but basically everyone knows that when you do journals, you can do preview postings. So to see where things are going to land before you actually commit the journal, it's giving you more options for preview postings. I'm sure you'd have found that by now when you're going through to post journals, but when you're doing warehouse receipts or shipments, you can actually do preview postings on that. And there's more functionality along that side. Next one, review general ledger accounts faster. So let's have a look at this one. So what this is basically giving you the ability to mark accounts as being reviewed just for your own purposes if you're doing some sort of rec. So the way it works, if I go to my chart of accounts, just search for it here. Now, it doesn't matter which account I choose just now, but let's say it was my debtors control. If you want to mark the ability to review accounts, you go into your account and you have to set a policy. Now, if it's on none, you can't do a review. Allowed review means yes, I can do it. Allowed review and match balance means that you must be ticking off debits and credits in the ledger entries so that they match. So I'm just going to click on allow review. Okay. And what I'm then going to do is look at the ledger entries. And all this is now doing is it allows me to select a line, click on review entries. I can now see, okay, based on what I've been doing, I'm going to set that as reviewed down to this one, set that as reviewed, and so on and so on. So you can see what it's doing is putting in entries to say that, yeah, it's been reviewed by a person at a specific date. This will stay until someone reverses it. And obviously what it then means, if you are using this for reconciliation, you can then do filters to see what you've still to review, what's not been reviewed, that type of thing. So if you find that useful, as I said, just set it up on the account to mark it that you can review it, and then you can come into the ledger entries and you can do that. Good. Right, next one. Straightforward one. I'll just explain it. Set default dimensions on locations. Previously, you couldn't put a dimension on a location. So when you've got your inventory and you have multiple locations, you couldn't put a default location on inventory. You can now do that. It's straightforward enough if you want to do it, and then also that can then feed your analysis. They've made changes to master data. Now, I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but master data, Business Central now allows you to have a master data company, and any subsequent companies you create can be child companies. And and the master data can control, for instance, the general ledgers across all the companies. So the idea is that I create, my main company. It's my parent company. I might have 5 other subsidiaries. They're all in Business Central. I want them to all have the same chart of accounts. I can control that the master data, whenever something changes, it could be add a new account or change the description of the account. Whenever it's done in one company, the master data posts it to all companies. You can do this with customers if you had all the same customers, that is, the suppliers. And within the GL, we can control different aspects of what's actually synchronizing. So if you are, or you'd have that type of system, that type of scenario where you could do with master data and that type of functionality, it's now available. Okay, so that was a bit about applications. So I'm just going to move on. And the next bit is, excuse me, it's too far here. Next bit is Copilot. Okay, so we've got a couple of things. Well, we've got Copilot changes in April 23, and we've got Copilot changes in the latest release or forthcoming changes, because some of them aren't released yet. So the changes which happened in April are around item descriptions and marketing. So if I look at my items, and this is a good one to link in with Shopify. If I've created an item, so there's my PlayStation 5. So I sell this PlayStation 5 and I sell this on my Shopify. So I can click in here, show products in Shopify, and it's going to bring through what this is. However, what you can also do is if you have attributes against the item. So if I look at my item attributes, just 1 second. Yeah, there. I said different attributes an item, which you can create attributes and set against items. It might be colour in this instance, it might be different headings. So I've got colour, gaming, and partner. So you set your attributes against an item. And what you do is, you can see this here, create with Copilot. Copilot will look at the item, look at the description, and actually try and give you market material in terms of description of the item. So this was created by Copilot. It decided a nice selling heading would be elevate your gaming experience in Microsoft PlayStation 5 to the next level. So it then goes through, looks at, and it actually takes attributes from the internet and explains what this item is. You can come in here and you can accept that, or you can actually change the emphasis on it. So if it's not innovative enough for you, or if you want it to be more elegant, the system will go away and automatically try and AI generate a description. And if you want to, you're happy with it, you can then use that and you can send that to use in Shopify, which is really quite good. So that's one bit of AI. Now, another bit of AI, this is on the later slide, I'll just speak about it just now, is within bank recs. Now, this isn't quite available yet, but I'll just explain what it's going to do. I think this is going to be released this month. When you're doing a bank rec, there's more code and AI to try. Oh, sorry, there you can see that was my my Shopify order telling me it was confirmed. When you do when you do your bank rec, there's going to be more AI functionality to try and match. So it's going to get a better match. What it's also going to do, let's say that you have some entries which are coming through the bank, I say bank interest, for instance, which aren't yet in the bank account ledger to reconcile. So you actually have to go through here and you have to create a journal. What the system will do for you is, as it finds things which are not yet accounted for, when you create the journal, it's going to try and guide you and tell you which accounts you should be using. So, because it will know and it'll recognise, okay, interest must be the bank interest account within your GL. That description must be a certain account within your GL. Now, it's going to try and guide you. You can control and change it. But this is the first pass of bank account reconciliation, which it's going to offer you in November using some AI functionality in the background. So it's all heading in the right direction. It's all getting better. As I'm sure over the next few months, you'll see even more AI functionality within the product. So that was just a bit about AI. Feature management. Now, with all these releases, with all these changes, what you'll find is that there's an area where you can see what's happening with some of them. Now this option is probably only going to be available to administrators. If I'm going to search feature management, if you've not already seen this, what this is this is a list of the changes and when they're due to come out. So some of these, if they're not yet ready, you can enable. So you can actually say, okay, although it's ready, it's not going to, it's not enabled yet, but if I want to, I can enable them just now. So some of the things you can enable, other things you can try out, and this is one of the ones which I'm going to show you just now. So feature management allows you to see what's coming, what can be enabled, and some of the things you might decide, well, just now I want to disable it because I'm not ready for it yet. So again, this is, you're sort of looking at what this type of thing maybe in your sandbox before the updates are hitting a live production box. But again, come in here, have a look, and you can see exactly what's coming through. The part I wanted to, which you can try just now, and this is actually, I've set mine up, is analysis mode. So what I'm going to do, Business Central now has this tab when you've set it up called analysis, or when it's released. So you might not see it just now. If it's available in your box, you'll see it. Now this is in every single page. So I'm going to search for customer ledger entries. And what this does is this is every customer ledger entry in the system, paid or not. So this is everything I've got in my test system. What I might want to do is say, okay, I maybe filter this, and I want to see, let's see, the remaining amount not equal to 0. So this gives me outstanding items, and I might want to say, well, I'm only interested in invoices and credit memos. Okay, so that's fine. So that list, although you can't see all the information, it's pages of it, is basically my, I guess, my aged debtors. But what I can do, I might want to analyse this. I'm going to click on this Analyse button. And what the system will do, it will bring through all the information. Shows me how many rows I've got. I've got 610 rows. And I can scroll across and I can see, obviously, all the columns is offering me to show me. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this option called Columns. And I can then choose if I want, what data I can tick things on and off in terms of what it's shown me here. But for now, what I want to do is I'm going to look at the values. So this is like a pivot table. I know that I've filtered this. I'm only interested in what's remaining of the sum amount. So I'm just going to take off some of these. I don't need them just now. I'm not interested in debit amount and credit amounts. I'm just only interested in the remaining amount just now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this pivot mode. And what it's done, if those of you who know pivots, is it's now got a value, and I've just said I just want to know the sum remaining. I might want to say, okay, so can I break this down by year? And it now says 473,000 is owed to 2021, age debtors to 2023, 260,000. Right. Can I take that off and can I look at it by customer? Well, of course I can. Click on there. That's by customer. Okay. Can I see it by, let's say, salesperson? And now it's breaking it down into salesperson. So you can see it's a pivot. It's using that pivot functionality. Break it down by department. I'm not using departments in this test data, so that's why I'm giving blanks. It's giving blanks. But what I might want to do is combine this. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to know, let's see, who the salesperson was that sold it. Then within the salesperson, I want to know the year it was sold. Click that on. And then within the year, I'd like to see the customer. and description. What that's now done is it's done exactly as I've asked it to do. It's looking at the salespersons, summing it, breaking that down by the year. You can see that's myself in this test example. Then breaking each year down by the customer name. So you can slice and dice a lot of your data now using these types of pivots. Now I could have things going along the top, so I could say, well, I'm not interested in my salesperson code. Let's take these off. I might want it by customer, but then say my salesperson. I'll drag it as a column label. So now what I'm looking at is sales customer by salesperson. You know, you can do different combinations and slice and dice. Now the great thing about this is that when it creates this analysis, it will keep it for you. I can take this one, I can rename it. So this is Lee, let's see, do that again. Lee sales. If I want to, I can duplicate this. And then I can take this one and I can amend it. So I don't want the, let's take off the, let's put this one by the year, take off the salesperson code, that type of thing. I can arrange them from left and right, I can delete them, I can export the data, an option to actually export the data it creates, CSV or Excel file. If I leave this screen, let's go out, go back in. By default, it won't show you what the analysis was, but if I go back in and click it back on, see what's happening? It remembers what you've done before. So it will save it for you. If you don't want it, if you want to obviously remove it, you can delete it. In the latest release of October 23, there's now an option where you can actually send the link to another user and they can then use that view for themselves. So this is quite a subtle change, I think, but it's really, really powerful. It's a nice bit of functionality, which I think is going to be really useful. And this is available everywhere. If I went into the GL and I don't obviously into the, let's see, the registers. You can see here, I can click on analysis and it works. It works here as well, it works everywhere. Okay, so nice. That's a nice quick win for those who weren't aware that was there. Go back to the slides. So that was really what I was doing here. I was analysing the pivot tables. As I said, I was talking about shared data analysis with Coworker, which is released in October this year, but you might not see it in your system yet. Next ones, there's a couple of older ones here, which I just want to. So I'm just going to run through the three of them. It's searching company data, drag and drop, which is nice and simple, and a new function for navigation, which you may not be aware about. Now, searching company data, if I go to my front screen, if you can't see it here on your row, you can use it here, search. And there is our searching company data, and also you can bookmark it. What this does is this searches pretty much the whole system. It'll tell you which tables it's searching. So if I needed to, I don't know, nice and simple, I need to find anything in my system. That could be accounts, names, contacts, addresses, lines of orders, posted or not, with the word green in them. What it does, it says, okay, I found postage purchase invoices, sales invoices, contacts with the word green inside the address, items with the description green. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try red. And it's found, obviously, it's quite it's looking inside text, so it's finding Fred because Red's inside Fred. You see that there? Posted invoices, customers, etc., etc. So you can come through here. It's very powerful. And if I then want to have a look at it, just click on what it finds, and it'll take you to that entry. Now, what's it searching on? It's searching on, now I didn't mean I did that too quickly. In my results inside the show tables to search, it's looking at all these tables here. If you're not interested in search for certain tables, you can also untick them, and then it will only search within the ones you've left on. Again, it's a simple but quite a powerful search facility. Next one I want to move on, which you may already be using, is if I go to a customer, is attachments. So basically, if I went to customer and let's see, and go to attachments, what it's basically telling us now is that, see, rather than me say new and then click attach files, go away and browse, you can just go to your PC, find the file, and just drag it and drop it here, and it will automatically put it in for you. You don't have to go through and input the fields, it will do it for you. So when you're attaching documents, as it says here, just drop the file on here and it will do it for you. Again, just a nice simple change. And the last one I was going to show you, I'll just remind, is the new sort of navigation. So how this works, if I just go back to my front screen, is if you press your Alt key, see what's happening just now? I'm pressing my Alt key. What happens is a menu appears. And these menus are basically identifiers for each of the menus. So for instance, if I wanted to go into items, I could press I on my keyboard and it takes me there, so I'm not using the mouse. If I then press Alt again, it'll then show me the second sub menu for this. If I want to go to discounts, I'm pressing D, and then it opens up, and then this menu, if I want to go to purchase prices, I'm pressing U. And then from there, I could obviously do what I need to do with. So it's a subtle change, but just by pressing the Alt, I can access a sub-menu, quick shortcuts to get into. I'll press G just now, get into the general journals. And as you can see, it's working. Press Alt again. I might want to then, do what I need to do. XR is into deleted information, U into account, C into card, and I'm there. Nice and easy. Give it a try. Okay, so that was some user experience, and we've did Copilot, we've did a bit of user experience. Near the end now, we're looking at October 2023, some of the changes. Now, some of the changes I was talking about have been released in October 2023. The April ones, they're just more enhanced now, so I'm not going to go through them all again. Just to finish you off, there's a few more. So I spoke about sort of Copilot and how you can complete bank account reconciliation. As I said, I've not got it available yet. That'll be available in, I think, this month, so look out for that, give it a go. Power BI. So if you're not already using Power BI, please remember that Business Central has a connector straight to Power BI. So if I scroll down, there's my Power BI reports here. The latest release is giving you more control over these charts within Business Central. So what I've got here is, if I just expand it, I've written reports, I've got a connector, and I can consume data and give visualizations on all my nice things that are happening within Business Central. What the latest release, as I said, I don't have this one yet, as there's more changes to this and how you can control, embed, and work with Business Central within Power BI. So again, if you're a Power BI user, that's coming out soon. If you're not a Power BI user and you want to look at Power BI in more detail, the license within here is free. You don't have to pay for it. Okay. Now, speak about this one. There is I don't have this available yet in my system, but there's a new functionality for allocation to distribute costs and revenue. I believe what you'll get is an option where you can set up, let's say, by department. If you post a GL account, and you can say, well, when it hits this account, 25% should go across 4 departments. I think it's giving you the functionality to do that. Again, go in and have a read at it and see if that's useful to you. And I think the last one on this list, well, last couple, edit in Excel. So everyone hopefully knows that you can do certain edits in Excel within Business Central. Make sure my link's working. It's not working on this one, see for some reason. But basically, there's more worksheets and there's more journals which this allows it on. So rather than doing edit in Excel, we go through exporting vendors or exporting items. There's more journal options and more areas where you can use that functionality. So again, if you want to go and have a read, please do. For some reason, mine not working on that one, but I'll let you have a look at it yourselves. And the last one I've picked out, as I said, just one I'm picking out, nice, easy to explain. Sync documents and posting dates for sales and purchases. Now, again, I don't have that as my system, but if I go through it, I'll just have a quick read. So when this is available in your system, in your purchases and in your sales setup, you've got this wee box, link the document date to posted. What it's basically saying is that in previous versions, when you change the posting date, it always updated the document date. Now, that's something that you might not want. You might obviously have a posting date, change the document date, and then realize I need to change the posting date, but then it keeps changing the document date, and then you can make a mistake. When available, you can control this by ticking that box, and that will actually allow you then, when you change one, it doesn't change the other, it keeps it as is. Again, whether or not that's useful for you, you can go in, have a read, but it's another change which is now available. Okay, I think I'm on time in regards to some of that. What I'll do now, I'm going to just change my screen over to the links when I first brought Microsoft Word. So if you want to, you can also note down those links. But over to any questions. If you get any questions, then Bethany, you can maybe read them out in the chat.
Lee, we've just got one question from someone who is asking, do you need to take on all these new features if they're not relevant to you?
The new features, some of them, as I said, the last one there was showing you, you can tick the box on or off if you want it. Some of them you don't have to use because it's optional. It's if you want to change process. Obviously, there's stuff like the analyze that was going through, how to use the sort of pivot tables. You don't have to use it, you don't want to. Most of this, which I've been showing you, you don't have to use if you don't want to.
But it's just good to know that it's there if it's applicable to you.
Exactly. It's good to know that it's there. It's good to know that the functionality exists. It's good to know that with education and as your business changes, you might say, well, wait a minute, I can remember there was some nice features in that. Let me speak to the account manager. So yeah, you don't have to use all of this. It's just nice because if you don't,
the Microsoft are constantly adding new features and enhancing the product. So as much as some things maybe aren't relevant, then hopefully some things are.
Exactly.
Probably just to note as well for everyone on the call is that there is an area on Microsoft website where you can suggest new features. So I think the one that you showed, Lee, which was the data syncing, the master data syncing, that actually came from a user suggestion. And you can vote against, you know, new features that you really want or you feel that are missing from the product. So quite good to know that you can do that as well. But I guess we maybe just wrap up now, and if anyone on the call has any questions or queries about any of the features, just drop us a note and we'll be happy to have a chat about it. But no, thank you everyone for joining, and thanks to Lee for taking us through the different new features, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yep, great, thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, bye.
Bye, bye.